Okay, we back in the word of the Most High. I asked a question that we had read in Psalms 110 and 1, how David said, the Most High said it to my power, who was the Mashiach Yahushai, sit thee on my right hand until I make thine enemies thy footstools. So Mashiach Yahushai is on the right hand of the Most High, waiting for the Most High to put all his enemies under his footstool. So how did David say this? How did David know as a prophet to say this? So it's telling us in, go to Mark the 12th chapter to answer that question. Let's look at verse 35. Mark 12 and 35. And the Mashiach answered and said, while he taught in the temple, how say the scribes that Mashiach, talking about himself, is a son of David? Same thing we just read in Matthew. For David himself said, this is telling you how he said it, by the Holy Spirit. It was the angel of the Most High, the Spirit of the Most High. The Most High said to my power, Mashiach Yahushai, sit thou on my right hand till I make thine enemies thy footstool. That's what we just read. It's just, Mark is telling you how he said it. What gave him the power to be able to say this is through the Holy Spirit, through the Spirit of the Most High. David therefore himself calleth him his master. And whence is he then his son? And the common people heard him gladly. So let's go to 1 Corinthians 15. 1 Corinthians 15 chapter. Verse 24. Because remember it said, Mashiach was sitting on the right hand side of the Most High until the Most High make his enemies his footstool. So 1 Corinthians 15 and 24 says, then cometh the end. We know 2 Ezra 6 and 9 says, for Esau is the end of the world, and Jacob is the beginning of it that followeth. Then cometh the end, when he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High, Mashiach Yahushai, who's on the right hand side of the Most High, even the Father. See? When he shall have put down all rule and all authority and power. He's going to take down all power, and authority. Period. That's when he's coming back, when he judge and make war to do. For he must reign. See what it says? Till he have put all enemies under his feet. Just like it said in Psalms 110 and 1. The Most High said it to my power, Hamashiach Yahushai, sit thee on my right hand. He's sitting on the right hand side of the Most High until he make his enemies his footstool. Says it again. Look at, hold that. We coming back there. Go to Acts, the 2nd chapter. Acts, the 2nd chapter. Look at Acts 2 and 25. It's about King David. For David speaketh concerning him, I foresaw Mashiach Yahushai always before my face, for he is on my right hand, that I should not be moved. Look at let's look at verse 32, Acts 2:32. This Mashiach Yahushai have the Most High raised up, whereof we all are witnesses. They seen him walk the earth for 40 days. Therefore, being by the right hand of the Most High exalted. See that? Therefore, being by the right hand of the Most High exalted, and having received of the Father the promise of the Holy Spirit, he hath shed forth this which ye now see and hear. Remember, we went through the lesson where it showed he's the Spirit, that Holy Spirit, that makes intercession for us to the Most High. He said, for David is not ascended into the heavens, but he said himself, the Most High said unto my power, once again, Most High speak once, yea, twice, hopefully you will receive this. Most High said unto my power, Mashiach Yahushai, sit thou on my right hand, until when? Until I make thy foes, which is the enemies, thy footstool. Okay? So now, going back to 1 Corinthians 15:24. Then cometh the end. When you read in Revelation 19:11, we coming to judge and make war. When he shall have delivered up the kingdom to the Most High. Gonna shut down all these kingdoms. Even the Father, when he shall have put down all rule and authority, and power. All powers and authority. Right? For he must reign till he have put all enemies under his feet. The last enemy that shall be destroyed is death. No more death. For he have put all things under his feet. But when he said, all things are put under him, all things are put under Mashiach. Remember, say, gonna make his enemies his footstool. But when he has said, all things are put under Mashiach Yahushai, it is manifest that he is accepted. Who's accepted? He is accepted, which did put all things under him, the Most High. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, after 1,000 years, then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him. But Mashiach Yahushua will be subject to the Most High, power of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. Let me read it again. And when all things shall be subdued unto him, we take down all powers from authority and rule for 1,000 years. Then shall the Son also himself be subject unto him, that put all things under him. Then the Mashiach Yahushua will be subject to the Most High, that put all things under him. That the Most High may be all in all. That's what this is all about, y'all. Right there. You don't remember anything else, remember that. Because, I don't know, it seems like people think it's all about them. This is all about the Most High, that the Most High may be all in all. The Most High gonna be all in all. Because you gotta understand, man, the Most High said, all you need is me. You don't need nothing else. All you need is me. And we chose to be like the other nations. We chose, looking at these heathen that the Most High says has been imputed as nothing and less than nothing and vanity in Isaiah 40:17, just in case you don't believe what I'm saying. But let me read it so therefore you won't, because you know our people are lazy. You'll just say I'm saying something and blame it on me. So let me read it. Isaiah 40:17. All nations before him are as nothing. All nations before him are as nothing, and they are come to him less than nothing and vanity. You see it. It's right there. Verse 15. Behold, the nations are as a drop of a bucket, and they are counted as the small dust of the balance. Dust that's on a scale. Behold, he taketh up the isles, people in the islands, as a very little thing. That's what he said. So it's not talking about Israel, because look what he said in verse 1. Comfort ye, my people. That's the 12 tribes of Israel, said the Most High. Speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her, that her warfare is accomplished. Hear that? That's I read Romans 9:13 says, as it is written, Jacob have I loved. Say, speak ye comfortably to Jerusalem, and cry unto her, that her warfare is accomplished, that her iniquity is pardoned, for she hath received of the Most High's hand double for all her sins. So it's not talking about his chosen people, who he only knew and only know. He's talking about these other nations outside of the 12 tribes of Israel. Oh, that's nothing. I know that hits home real hard, but it is what it is. And see, the problem is, a lot of problem that we have is really looking at this, and our people really thinking that they'll create their own Most High. It's not the power of this Bible. Not the same one I read about reading this Bible. You gotta come up with your own power. It ain't him that I'm reading about. So let's look at 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter. 2 Timothy, the 4th chapter. Look at verse 22. Let's read verse 1 first. 2 Peter 4:1. It said, I charge thee therefore before the Most High and the Master of Mashiach Yahushua, who shall judge the quick and the dead. You hear that? You're going to judge the quick and the dead at his appearing and his kingdom. Appearing and his kingdom. Say, preach the word. Be instant in season, out of season. Reprove, rebuke, exhort with all long suffering and doctrine. For the time will come when they will not endure sound doctrine, but after their own lust shall they heap to themselves teachers having itching ears. Let me go over here and listen to him. Oh, I like what he say. I'm over here. Oh, what he say over there? Oh, I don't like what he said something. I'm going over here. Itching ears. Hearing somebody say something, now you with them. Hear somebody, then you say something you don't like, then you over here with them. Itching ears. Teachers. Heaping to themselves teachers having itchy ears. And they shall turn away their ears from the truth. They're going to turn away their ears from the truth. That's why, looking at all this and knowing all this, it's like, why doesn't it bother you pertaining to numbers and all that stuff? Mosiah, he said, go out and seek those that are like Ezra. Like Ezra. Who was humble. He didn't count himself as one of the righteous. Didn't think he was all that. Even though, you got to understand, the Most High gave him 124 books more than he gave Moses. Than we have. 124 more. We only got 80 books, right? He gave him 204 books. And he still didn't count himself as one of the righteous. See, that's how Job got dealt with Satan. See, people got that ego. They think they all that. They high-minded, conceited and all that. Oh, the Most High gonna deal with you. You say, ain't nobody more powerful than me, but you put yourself in a certain position. Like when you look at, what can I look at? Y'all show me, comment on this. Okay. especially you Christians, you say you believe in Christmas. That's Mashiach's birthday, right? Y'all say that's his birthday, which is wrong. It's Nimrod's birthday, but y'all say it's his birthday. So it's his birthday. Now, I look at birthdays, and you go all out for birthdays. You get all these presents and do all the things that you do on a birthday. What do you get? What do you buy for Mashiach on his birthday? What do you buy for Jesus on his birthday? Where do we fit in with, I haven't been nowhere where I've seen they was all celebrating Jesus on Christmas. When I did, come growing up as a child, dealing with Christmas, I ain't see nobody talking about, oh, we got to celebrate Jesus' birthday. Now, you celebrating your birthday, where the Most High fit in that? That's all glory to that person. The Most High is not even hardly mentioned. Got your candles on your cake, blowing your candles out. Got your prep. Well, look at what you're gonna get for your. It's all about you. We didn't do that. I ain't went to no birthday parties when I was coming up, and it was all about Most High in any way, shape, or form. It was about that person putting himself above the Most High. See, Most High's name is jealous, and where he getting glory in that? Show me where he get the glory in that. That's why we didn't deal with birthdays. You see? Itching ears. So, and I know Israelites, they just like the world. They just like follow what the world is. Jeremiah said, cursed be the day I was born. Because you're born into captivity. Born into a world that's all against you. But, you see, we fall back into the ways of the world, and then if you look at, okay, well, you know what's right from wrong, you're going to do wrong, then you're going to be held more accountable, be beat with more stripes. And the people that don't know the truth can't really understand it, because it's like, you're supposed to do this, because we doing it. Like people said, somebody was telling them, well, how is it that you're wrong, you're right, and everybody else wrong? How is you right, but everybody else is wrong? And they doing everything that they do. That's why the Most High said in Jeremiah 10:2 was spirit. Spirit. Still dealing with the spirit. You follow the right spirit or wrong spirit. It says, what it say? Learn not to wear the heathen. We're supposed to learn to wear the heathen. You see? It said, learn not to wear the heathen. So where you get it from? You got it from the heathen. Because we didn't do that. Show me what Mashiach said to honor his birthday. And what day was he born on? Most of you don't even know. You don't know. So here we are now, dealing with the things that the heathens did. And not realizing that this is real serious. It's real serious, y'all. It's more serious than what you might understand when it comes down to. You heard what it said. All it's about, the Most High being all in all. The Most High being all in all. Point blank. Look at Exodus 34:14. See, when we start to exalt ourselves, then how the Most High fit into that? Exodus 34:14. Say, for thou shalt worship no other power, not even yourself. For the Most High, whose name is jealous, is a jealous power. Lest thou make a covenant or contract agreement with the inhabitants of the land, doing what they do, following their traditions, and they go a-whoring after their gods. Better look into it. I mean, you better really look into it. Go a-whoring after their gods, and do sacrifice unto their gods, their idols, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice. You know they dealing with somebody else, some other type of God. Here you are going in there eating with him. You eating of his sacrifice. What he worship? The God he worship. And thou take of their daughters unto thy sons, and their daughters go a whoring after their gods, and make thy sons go a whoring after their gods. Thou shalt make thee no molten gods. And that's all the gods of the nations are idols. Look, let's go to the Greek Empire. Since we dealing with spirit, this is what we dealt with. Second Maccabees, the 6th chapter. And let's read from the 6th verse. It said, neither was it lawful for a man to keep Sabbath days. This is in the Greek Empire. Or ancient feast days. Or ancient feasts. They stopped us from having our Sabbath days and ancient feast days. Or to profess himself at all to be a Jew. So he took a spirit of us away from knowing who we are as the children of Israel, 12 tribes of Israel. And in the day of the king's birth, his birthday, every month, they were brought by bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices. Have you said? Exodus 34:15. Most already told you his name is jealous. Lest thou make a covenant with the inhabitants of the land, and they go a whoring after their gods, their idols, and do sacrifice unto their gods, their idols, when you eating, and one call thee, and thou eat of his sacrifice, right? 2 Maccabees 6, verse 7. And in the day of the king's birth, every month, that day that he was born on, every month, they were brought by bitter constraint. See what it is? Bitter constraint to eat of the sacrifices, because we wasn't dealing with no birthdays. To eat of the sacrifices. And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus, carrying ivy. Moreover, there went out a decree to the neighbor cities of the heathen by the suggestion of Ptolemy against the Jews, that they should observe the same fashions and be partakers of their sacrifices. So we had to do this by bitter constraint. They had to make us do this. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles should be put to death. So yeah, that's why it's ingrained and it's ingrained in your mind and your brain to this day. And whoso would not conform themselves to the manners of the Gentiles, most I said, Jeremiah 10:2, learn not the way of the Gentiles, should be put to death. Then might a man have seen the great misery. But there were 2 women brought, who had circumcised their children, who when they had openly led round about the city, the babes hanging at their breasts, they tied the babies to the breasts of the women. They cast them down headlong from the wall. They took the women and the babies that was tied on their breasts, threw them down from a wall on their head. And others that had run together into caves nearby. They ran into caves nearby to keep the Sabbath day secretly. Being discovered to Philip, were all burnt together. They burned them all up together because they made a conscience to help themselves for the honor of the most sacred day. Encouragement. It said, now I beseech those that read this book, that they be not discouraged for these calamities, but that they judge those punishments not to be for destruction, but for a chastening of our nation. But what we done? You see that though. Verse 7 again, in the day of the king's birth, every month, whatever day he was born on, every month they were brought by bitter constraint, we the Israelites, to eat of the sacrifices. See? And when the feast of Bacchus was kept, the Jews were compelled to go in procession to Bacchus carrying ivy. See? So that happened during the Greek Empire when the so-called white man came into power. That's what they did. Killed the women that circumcised their babies. Well, a lot of times now are right now they having children and the boys are not circumcised when they have the children. That's part of our custom, our culture. They were put to death for doing it back then, as we just read. Sad. And every 25th day of the month, that's what they did. It's cold. Go to Isaiah 29. Isaiah the 29th chapter. We're going to deal with, so we're dealing with the spirit, we're looking at this type of spirit. Let's start at verse 1. Say, woe me destruction to Ariel, the city where David dwelt. Add ye year to year, let them kill sacrifices. Yet I will distress Ariel, and there shall be heaviness and sorrow, and it shall be unto me as Ariel. And I will camp against thee round about. It will lay siege against thee with a mount. And I will raise forts against thee. He's coming against them. He's going to build up mounds and he's going to seize the city. And thou shalt be brought down and shalt speak out of the ground. And thy speech shall be low out of the dust. And thy voice shall be as one that hath a familiar spirit. You know that? So your voice gonna be as one that hath a familiar spirit out of the ground. And thy speech shall whisper out of the dust. Wow. He said you're gonna be as one that has a familiar spirit. And you're gonna be one that whispers out of the dust. That's serious. You're going to be as one that hath a familiar spirit. So these are, what the white man called ghosts, because we never found a word for ghosts in the Hebrew. We know spirit. You know, it's like spirit is like what they would call an apparition, or something of that nature. Apparition. And we seen those also. We have seen those. We saw war in heaven. I mean, let me show you. It happened. Go to the book of Second Maccabees, the 5th chapter. To show you spirits. About the same time, Antiochus prepared his second voyage into Egypt, and then it happened that through all the city, for the space almost of 40 days, there were seen horsemen running in the air. Spirits, horsemen, like on horses, running in the air. In cloth of gold, and armed with lances, you know, them long lances that they have, you see on some of the movies and so forth, they had in old times. Like a band of soldiers, like a band of army of soldiers with their lances. And troops of horsemen in array, encountering and running one against another, with shaking of shields, and multitude of spikes, and drawing of swords. Can you imagine seeing this? What did it say? 40 days? The space almost of 40 days? You seeing this? You go outside, there it is in the sky. Apparitions. And troops of horsemen in array, encountering and running one against another, with shaking of shields and multitude of spikes, and drawing of swords, and casting of darts, and glittering of gold ornaments, and harness of all sorts. Wherefore every man prayed that aberration might turn to good. You see? We've seen this. We've seen these things. And they do exist. They do exist. Let me show you. Go to Colossians, the 1st chapter, 14th verse. And see, what you have to realize is, I don't know, I don't think everybody has an eye, or the Most High don't reveal a lot of things to everyone, because the Mashiach Shai made these things, these entities. Colossians 1:14. In whom we have redemption through his blood. Talk about a Mashiach Yahushua. Even the forgiveness of sins. It's forgiveness of sins to the 12 tribes of Israel when you read Acts 5:31. Who is the image of the invisible power. The Most High, first and foremost, is invisible. The firstborn of every creature. For by him were all things created. By Mashiach Yahushua was all things created by the Most High, that are in heaven and that are in earth. That's what it say. Visible and invisible. So the Most High created things through Mashiach Yahushua that are visible, you can see, and things that you can't see. Invisible. Just like the Most High is an invisible power. So he's invisible, and he have things that's invisible just like him. Can you relate to that? You better relate to it, because it's going to be happening. To tell you about how these things going to be happening in the last days. Oh, yeah. You're going to see things happening. You don't see nobody, but you know something is doing it. It's invisible. Oh, yeah. There are many stories that I know to tell, that I know for a fact happens. He made things visible and invisible. Understand, overstand this. visible and invisible, whether they be thrones or dominions or principalities or powers, all things were created by him and for him. And he is before all things, and by him all things consist. You see. So this is what we're looking at when we talk about Mashiach Yahushua. Look at him. When he speaking of him, let's go to Matthew, the 14th chapter. Matthew 14, I believe it's 14. That's not what I want. That's not what I want. Hold on. Just a moment. Let's see. Look at Hebrews 13th chapter. Give you an example of spirit of as an angel. Hebrews 13 and 2. Hebrews 13 and 2. Be not forgetful to entertain strangers, for thereby some have entertained angels unawares, right? Some have entertained angels unaware. So now go to Mark the 16th chapter. Is that the Mashiach Yahushua had died and rose on the third day. Mark 16 and 5. And entering into the sepulchre, they saw a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment, and they were frightened. So they seeing a young man sitting on the right side, clothed in a long white garment, and they were frightened. They were scared. And he said unto them, Be not affrighted. Ye seek a Mashiach Yahushua of Nazareth, which was crucified. He is risen. He is not here. Behold, the place where they laid him. This where they said, just where he laid him. But go your way. Tell his disciples and Peter that he goeth before you into Galilee. There shall ye see him, as he said unto you. And they went out quickly and fled from the sepulchre, for they trembled and were amazed. Neither said they anything to any man, but they were afraid, scared of this angel. Now when the Mashiach Yahushua was risen early the first day of the week, he appeared first to Mary Magdalene, out of whom he had cast 7 devils. He cast out 7 devils, 7 demons out of her. And she went and told them that had been with him, as they mourned and wept. And they, when they had heard that he was alive and had been seen of her, believed not. After that he appeared in another form. Unto 2 of them, as they walked and went into the country. He appeared to them in another form, as they walked and went into the country. And they went and told it unto the residue. Neither believed they them. They didn't believe him. Afterward he appeared unto the 11, as they sat at meat, sitting down eating. He appeared to them and upbraided them with their unbelief and hardness of heart, because they believed not them which had seen him after he was risen. See, showing you that he appeared, but they didn't believe it. They didn't believe it. Look at Acts 1 and 9. Mashiach Shai died, rose on the third day, walked the earth for 40 days. Acts 1 and 9. And when he had spoken these things, when he spoke all the things that he said, while they beheld, he was taken up. He was taken up, and a cloud received him out of their sight. And while they looked steadfastly toward heaven as he went up, behold, two men, two angels, stood by them in white apparel, just like that angel was in white apparel. Which also said, Ye men of Galilee, why stand ye gazing up into heaven? This same of Mashiach Yahushai, which is taken up from you into heaven, shall so come in like manner as ye have seen him go into heaven. How did he go? He went up in the cloud, right? The cloud, it tells you in Psalms 104 and 3, are the chariots of the Most High, what they call UFOs. We call them IFOs. So you look at Revelations 1 and 7. Revelation 1 and 7. Behold, he coming with clouds. It's like he left with clouds, with a cloud. He coming with clouds, and every eye shall see him, and they also which pierced him, and all kindreds of the earth shall wail because of him. Even so. Hallelujah. So, and when he come, he's not a man, as we know it in the flesh, sitting beside the Most High. So he told us in Isaiah 47 and 3, thy nakedness, Edomites, because they the superpower of the earth. In the time he's going to come back, Esau is the end of the world, it said in 2 Ezra 6 and 9, thy nakedness shall be uncovered. Yeah, thy shame shall be seen. I will take vengeance, and I will not meet thee as a man. He's telling you that. He coming in his angelic power. Invisible to visible, to visible to invisible. I mean, he coming in his angelic power to wreak havoc on this earth. Bring forth his power. Look at Mark the 6th chapter. Let's see what the apostles knew about. Mark 6 and 47. And when even was come, the ship was in the midst of the sea. So they in the ship in the midst of the sea. And he alone on the land. And he saw them toiling